Vamos a empezar la tercera conferencia de El último día de Sonamaco. Gracias a todos por acompañarnos. Y Sonamaco Diseño está muy feliz de tener a Richard Yasmin platicándonos de la ciudad donde nació y donde vive y que tanto le inspira, que es Beirut. Gracias, Richard. Thank you, Richard, for being here. And they're all yours. Thank you.
Hi. So thank you for those who made it. And thank you for being here. And I'm so thankful to my friend and architect, Francisco Elias, who made this happen and this connection between the two countries. So this is very important to us. And thank you so much, Francisco. And definitely to Art Lexing Gallery. So usually I prepare things to talk and discuss, but I think it's better to stay natural and do it like very naturally. So let's start. Great. Okay. So the lecture is about nostalgic design, design as an agent of change in the Middle East. Here you can see me in the studio with lots of vintage things and paintings because I'm very addicted to vintage and old things, and I love to paint, and this is a reflection to my image. That's why I wanted to start the talk with this image. Here let's start at the beginning by if you want, my hobbies and what I studied and where I lived. So I'm a Lebanese born and I live in Lebanon, in Beirut. So I have a real love to my city and a very deep love to my city. And that's why I try to reflect all the time like a nostalgic, how we say, reflection to the city itself and to the real life of the citizens of Beirut. At the same time, I like ethnic things and I like colors. I like, so Mexico fits a lot with my type of things and what I like. So here you can see some of my paintings made a very long time ago. So I started like this because I love paintings. But later on, during my studies as an interior architect, so I was more into minimalism. I'm so much into here we can say we'll go back to the other one, but here also other paintings of me, some faces and eyes, because I really like faces, and this is also a part of what I love. When meeting new people. So faces is a reflection of civilizations, culture, and communication. And this is something very important, and you can see in each of my pieces, and you can feel it. So this is why I wanted to introduce, add this picture to the presentation. Okay, another thing of my inspirations was these tiles, because I was born in a house with these old tiles. My cousin is here. I think he remembers those tiles at home. He is now in Mexico since 30 years with his family. But still, those tiles were kind of my inspiration. Each room in the house has different kind of tiles. So, I used to see lots of colors and patterns, and maybe this helped me to be in the field and study interior architecture and design. So here another, so we had 6 different patterns at home. So those were really kind of my inspiration. Here we have, this was, if you want, the piece that made my name famous in the design field. So this is the Glory Hall stable. It was commissioned by a gallery in Lebanon. The theme was to do something regarding revenge. Well, I hate revenge, and we got enough of war in Lebanon, so I didn't want to do something reflecting war. So I did something more like ironic and more reflecting sexual intercourses and these kind of things. That's why you can see those phallic shapes items in brass. At the same time, they are vases. So the glory is for the flower. So when we put the flower inside the water and inside this, so it's the glory holes. At the same time, it's sexual and there is a message behind it. At the same time, this table, it's flippable. So we can flip it upside down to see the top, the metal top or the marble top. And the whole image is in the old house with those tiles that we used to have. Here you can see the black and white and the simple lines during my studies in interior architecture. So you can see I moved to total different things from what you see before, from the paintings and the colors. So I'm more into black and white and more into minimalism. So this is, you can feel it in my interior. Because now, I don't know if you saw my piece at Art Lexing, but my piece at Art Lexing is more like glamorous and more, if you want, extravagant. But here it's more simple. So mainly in interior design, I'm more simple. But in designing pieces, I can go like out of the box and do crazy things. This was another piece of mine. It's a collection, and the name of the collection is Khayzaran Fayrouz. Well, if you can see those shapes, those strips in leather, this was also was inspired from the old chair, which is the Khayzaran, a chair made of rattan. We see a lot of in Lebanon, because in Lebanon, we don't have any typical furniture in our heritage. We have old architecture. We can see it, but we cannot see any furniture. One of the furniture that we used to have a lot, still now even it's still available, is the Khayzaran Fayrouz, which is done with rattan. So here I took like 1 pixel of this pattern and I did it like in a bigger size to recreate the chair, but more in a contemporary feel to fit in our new atmospheres. Here you see the Wonderwood. The Wonderwood was a project for if you want to let people know how we work in the artisanal workshops. So we went to a person who worked with a kind of marquetry, and here you can see the different steps to recreate this piece. But this piece was not a typical thing that we used to do. No, usually they make these patterns very thin, in a thin layer, to make the marquetry. If you know the thing which we call like bagamon table. So here I decided to work with this kind of marquetry, but in the whole thickness of the wood. So you can see it from the back and from the side, both sides. Plus we did multiple treatment with chemicals and sandblasting to give it this kind of effects and feel, to feel as if it's like extracted from an old soil. Like when we removed the dust after the war, we can see this kind of treasure as we found it, under the war and behind the war. So it's also like there's a message behind it. Yeah, this is usually what I do. I'm more like a storyteller, and you can see in most of my pieces, I have like a certain message, and at the same time a story that I like to recreate and let the, if you want, the audience feel what I'm thinking of. So that's why when you look at the pieces, sometimes many people say that the pieces are very emotional. They can feel something toward the piece as a sculptural piece and not only as a functional piece. Okay, here we go back to some pictures from Lebanon, from my country. So you can see the cedars, you can see those lakes and the snow. So here, those pictures are to let people know that we have to raise awareness towards nature, towards our environment, because now it's becoming really hard. So if we don't do, like, we as designers, we should work on like preserving this nature, as well as like raising awareness on multiple subjects. So this is what usually I would like to this is the aim, if you want, of my pieces and of what I like to show to people. So here we see this, and this was a project called Wake Up Call. This project is made with natural bird nest, abandoned bird nest, and with stones, semi-precious stones, the tourmaline, the quartz, and the beryl emerald with brass. So this was Wake Up Call, and with this project, I wanted to like raise awareness that when you look at it, you feel as if it's a landscape. And I wanted people to see how nature is beautiful even without doing anything in it. So it's a very minimal project, and you can see like items done by nature. At the same time, it's like a design installation. So this was made for an exhibition in Milan during Milan Design Week in 2018, and it was very emotional, and people were very attracted to it. By the way, it's a lighting, so you're going to see later on in other pictures the light bulbs, which are made also hand blown in Lebanon. We moved to Lebanon, and you know the phase of war and after war. And here we can see those arches, which are very important and very like present in our heritage, and especially in the architectural heritage. And this what I like to preserve, and what I like that people and architects and designers, also investors, to preserve. But this is not happening, especially investors, because you know the lands now are very expensive in Beirut city. So. And the owners cannot maintain those houses, so they try to sell the houses to investors, so that the investors will like demolish the houses and then you know, build instead like the high-rise building and sell each floor at the same price of one floor. So it's, I can understand that, because anyways, and in our like how we say. There's no like help from the there's no help in our city from any like politics or any support for this, because politicians are like thinking of who's going to take the chair and who's going to sit on the chair. So this is a big problem. So I understand the owners of the house to sell them, but unfortunately we are losing our heritage that way. Here you can see other pictures from the war. So these are ruins of my cities, and the ruins are really beautiful. Unfortunately, some of them are like repaired, but some others are already gone. Here you can see the Martyrs monument done at 1960. Here we move to more like 70s architecture in Lebanon. So you can see the egg by architect Joseph Karam. It's still as it is right now, so it remains like this. Hopefully somebody will come and do something in it to make it to give it like a new life, because we need these kind of iconic architecture in our city. We move to another picture. Also, you can see here the sea and Beirut. So this is Beirut. I don't know if this will work. It's not working on the screen. So this was Beirut. This was the old Beirut with the port, and here you can see the old house with the sea directly, and as well the arches that I like a lot, and this was the inspiration of our Beirut, the screen. We moved to something else in the city. So mainly what I wrote was about this, you know, the feel of the city, where you can see those old people. And this is, by the way, the Khayzaran chair, the old one. Because I like a lot, we have something like the brunch. It's a brunch, but I mean with typical things like here, full hummus or knefe or these kind of things, which also are like a part of my inspiration, and we are losing this in our like new life. So we used to see the seller of like Lebanese bagel, he say ka'ak ka'ak, or the one who sells watermelon, and they say عالسكين يا بطيخ. So these things are missing nowadays in Beirut. So unfortunately, here the one who sell the bagels, and these are the stairs connecting the city, because Beirut city has like kind of not mountain, but I mean it's a hill. There is a hill inside of it, Ashrafiyeh, and Ashrafiyeh is the place where I was born and where I'm from. So it's connected to the city with different stairs. So all the small streets are connected all together with those stairs, and you can see some, sellers from this kind of style. Here in another picture, I mean on the sea, but also in the city and on the stairs, you can see this. You can smell even the jasmine, which is like on too many balconies in the town. Here, like after we saw the old architecture and the abandoned architecture, here you can see some people are trying to like refresh it and give it the new life that I was talking about. So you can see the windows, you can see this face of the famous Lebanese singer Fayrouz, which also is a part of my inspiration, because she has like an angelic voice. Her voice is like angels, and she's known all around the world anyway. So I don't know if somebody knows her, but she's a part of my heritage. So when mixing, Khayzaran to Fayrouz, so here I mix, the heritage with the like nostalgia. To the old Beirut and to the old voice and to these kind of very warm feelings that we miss nowadays. So we can see here how the architecture is like becoming some way new, but some of these houses were old and were like from the old picture, But the thing here about this picture is amazing, but the problem is not anyone can afford to stay in these houses, because they are becoming very expensive. So they are for a certain level of people. And this is so sad, because before it was for anybody and for everybody. Now it's like only for people who can afford to get these houses. But still, we can walk around and take inspirations. There are too many shops and too many restaurants in these streets. And this name is of this area is Saife village. So it's like a small village inside the capital. We moved to another one, and you can see the colors of Hawa Beirut. The inspiration also was from this. You can see the light pistachio, the light pink, the light blue, the light yellow. And here different areas. So here you can see Jemaize from the beginning to the end. And here it's Marim Khayil, which is the hipsters area right now. Not only the hipsters, but I mean more like artistic, with too many galleries, design galleries, new coffee shops. And you can see lots of tourists in these areas. This is one of the architecture in Lebanon that I really like. It's the Électricité du Liban. So this is very important and an iconic building in Beirut. It's a part of the modern buildings. So what I want you to see now, the new Beirut versus the old Beirut. You can see the old houses with the shape and how it was, and now the high-rise building, which are beautiful. And you can see here also an iconic building by Herzog et de Meuron. This is very important now in Beirut, but still you can feel the difference. So you can feel how we are using the heritage, because we can still have some small houses, but when seeing the different scales, it's not like worth it anymore. So this is very sad. Here, also, this is a part, if you want, of my inspirations. How we are like all together. We live all together like 18 religions. So here you can see the mosque and the church together in the sunset. A beautiful picture of Beirut, and this is how we usually live together, friends, families, and not at all from what you see in the news. It's totally different. So mainly the real life is very like decent, and we have like a beautiful life all together. But the problem is always the politics. Another view from Beirut also, you can see before the house and the water, and now there's no house and water. There is like this with the yachts for like millionaires, and all those buildings are for millionaires, so no one can even enter to this area, which is a part of the city. But this, we call it like the new waterfront of Beirut. This is me in an industrial place, because I love this industrial place. It's a huge parking, like 3 stories. Another picture, because I really really like this kind of architecture, abandoned architecture, and hopefully one day somebody will take this and do it something important. So here we move to the design. Moving to the design, you can see. I will let you know how I create the design and what are the stories behind each one. So here, the caliber 32, we're talking about the mechanism and about like the how people should be connected, and like if we don't hold each other hands, we cannot do anything. So so this is the aim of this project. You can see it's made from different a small part of food, and these are leftovers, because I don't like to throw leftovers. So I try to like see what the carpenter has, and we decided to work on this. It was, by the way, it was the first object I did after my studies, like after 10 years. I did this. It was a competition, and I won the competition. The competition was to make a stool like 35 by 35 by 35 to fit in a box this size. And it was this one. So from here, I started again to recreate, and like I focused more on the design pieces. Yet I still work in interior architecture, but you know, I got like more, if you want, attraction towards design and towards furniture. So here you can see also how it can click. Most of my pieces, by the way, are sculptural. So we can use them as functional, but still we can use as a sculptural element. And this is what makes them maybe different from others. Here also you can see some sketches, because I like to sketch. And you can see here the 3D of the concept with the other another one. Here, other sketches. Also, each one, if you look at, it has a part of something we have in our heritage. So you can see here. These were the studies before doing the caliber 32. So I decided to work on the other one, but still, I have these pieces, and you can see the Oriental. The Mediterranean feel and the Mediterranean patterns in each of these. We moved to the bleeding soul mirror. Here was also another part of the revenge, because at the revenge theme, they asked me to do like many proposals, and I proposed 3 pieces, and then they selected the 2. I was since I was very, very new in the design field, and that we had like many other designers more known than me during this edition, and they decided to use this one and the glory holes on the presentation, and that's how like my life moved, and I'm here with you now because of these both two projects, the glory holes and the bleeding soul. So here the revenge was about, I was talking about how a person can how we say, for example, when you get mad from somebody, you feel as if you are hurting yourself instead of hurting him. So this, when you are standing in front of the mirror, you feel those nails as if it's in the heart, and you can see the blood. But still, it's a functional piece. It's a mirror and it's a coat hanger. So we can remove those blood if we don't like, but to reflect the message, I put it this. We move to this, and here you can see how all of my pieces are like detachable, and we can like detach all the elements and reconnect all of them, because I like the interaction of people with my pieces. I don't like the piece to be static. So I like people to remove the pieces to connect the way they want. Plus, for a functional reason, I did it like that because the brass elements are very heavy. So when you want to fill with water to put the flowers inside, it's better to remove and fill it with water and then fix it again. Here you can see it flipped the other way. In the first pic at home, you see it, you saw the top was the marble, and here, from the other side. Another picture of the wonder wood, the detail of the wood and the marquetry when after like multiple sandblasting and multiple chemical treatments. Here also the wonder wood with those small Mediterranean and more Levantine details. The details of the wonder wood from the backside. We move to the Khayzaran Fayrouz here. The Khayzaran Fayrouz, it's a chair and a stool. It has a similarity with the old chair, but still it's more contemporary. And here the picture was done in this beautiful space. Unfortunately, this space is not available anymore. It was the first beer factory in Lebanon. So it was the first beer factory, and it was amazing. Unfortunately, somebody came and took it after the picture directly, like 1 month after taking pictures in it. Here you can see the tray in brass, which fit on the stool to make it as a table. And you can see those small glasses are for coffee, because in Lebanon, coffee is very important. And for us, if somebody visits you and they don't do coffee for you, for example, it's like a shame. So it's yeah. It's a shame. So this is very important. It's a ritual, and it's something very, welcoming. To welcome a person, you should do coffee for him. So this was also a part of the story and the collection. We moved to the first exhibition I did in Lebanon. It was Beyond Objects, and it was my first solo exhibition. Here you can see this beautiful architecture, also in Gemmayzeh Street. It's a gallery, and the upper part, I don't know if you know the famous Lebanese fashion designer Elie Saab. So this is the apartment of Elie Saab when he is in Beirut. So, and downstairs it's the gallery. So you can see also one of my pieces inside of this, which is profane. Profane here, it's like a temple. Here I'm talking about, the communication between people, the communication between cultures, the communication between religion, civilization. So you can see it's as if it's inspired, if you want, from different kind of architecture, from Ottoman to more like Roman to Byzantine and Indian. So this is a kind of temple, and inside of those pieces, not inside, on the you can see those shapes. I mean the square and the round and this small rectangular. So these openings are how we say, I'm trying to tell people, please try to find a small space to go out of your bubble to go out and to try to know the other, because sometimes when we are like, I don't know, in a certain religion, in a certain country, we are not like open to know the other, and that's why we are scared from him. We are scared from his religion. We are scared from his like sexual orientation. We are afraid from many things, and this is my urge. I really I always like reflect, problems in the societies, and especially taboos related to religion, to sexual orientations, to races, to skin colors. So these are parts of my this is very important in each of piece I do. I like to reflect this. So I don't know if you feel it when you look in each of my pieces, but this is very important to reflect and to say as well. We moved to this green table, which is the everlasting green. Here also was a part with the Khayzar and Fairuz, and you can see those legs are in brass. Still here you can remove the legs. So all the time I like people to interact with the pieces. I like them to like detach it, reconnect it. Like if they want to like store it, they can store it very like slim, even if it's heavy. So it's easy to do it. This was my second if you want like hit project. I don't know if we say like that, but here and here where Francisco, he saw the pieces, ashkal mirrors, and then he contacted me like since 2 years ago. So this architecture you see here is the Surso Museum, which is one of our top museum in Beirut. It's a contemporary museum right now. So they commissioned me to do like small pieces for their store, at the same time to have like a kind of like inspired from the architecture. So the inspiration was from the stained glass, because they have lots of geometrical shapes in the stained glass. So I took, those stained glass, and I did these elements, which are the mirrors made of high polished stainless steel with brass back and bases in brass and marble, different kind of and colors of marble. And this project was very important because it's very like minimal, but at the same time it has a very powerful meaning and consistency. So that's why you can see a lot of people, like since I did like from 2 years ago till now, a lot of copies of these. And you can see even copying the mood of the photography, because the photography was on pink, and you can see too many now. But it's published all around the world, so people knows who did this. So these shapes with the brass, the marble, here also, because I like this vintage thing. So, it has, a kind of vintage feel when you look at those mirrors. This is another project, and this the name is Clue. It's stable, but at the same time, it's a sculptural piece. And the subject here was about sadism and about how a piece alone cannot do anything. So a person alone cannot do anything. So now, if I was alone working all of these, I couldn't do this. So I have people like working with me and people helping me. So sometimes the people who help you, who are helping, are not known, but still you are functional when together. So that's why you can see when we put this clue, which is crew in English, inside this hole in the cube, it will become functional. Another project related to the sexual, like a message here. Here it's like two sexual organs, the male and the female. So you can see still, if you are protected, you can still be functional. So the shape of a condom, at the same time, it's very like thin and very fragile. So it's as if it's like the woman organ, and the other one is like solid, as if it's like the man organ. So this is plugged. It's a vase. At the same time, we can use it as a decanter. So here, when flipped, you can feel more the sexual thing. And still, you can use it as as a glass, so as a decanter or as a glass. Here comes another project. It was a collaboration with Francisco Elias, our Mexican architect. So he commissioned me to work on a collection of carpets, and we worked on 4 carpets, and the name is ceremonial activity. And why is ceremonial? Because he came to Lebanon, to Beirut, to meet me, and we did it as a ceremony, mixing cultures together and mixing colors, mixing patterns, and mixing, you know, kind of chemistry between both of us, chemistry related to design and arts. And those pieces were created, so you can see we have the winding, which is like the wind coming from Mexico to Beirut. You can see the marmar, which is with those 2 points, as if like, you know, it's like how we say, it's like the sea connecting together. So here are the balls as if floating in the big sea of marble and moving. So it's like the world is one, how we say, okay, there is maybe a distance far of each other. We are very far of each other, but still we can be close, you know, in the mind and in the culture. And the last piece was this one, the flower wicks explosions. So because every time when like when a ceremony is done, so we do fireworks. So that's why I decided to name this flower work explosions. And you can see some designs that I did before, like the caliber 32, like the Wonderwood and the Khayzaran Fairuz shape in this carpet. And those carpets now are available here in Mexico City, here on a bigger scale, just to see the details. Here we move to my famous piece, my third famous piece, which is the Hawa Beirut, which is available now here at Art Lexing Gallery. So if you want, you can pass by and check it. So the selection of the glasses, which are blown flat and not industrial glasses. And you can see how we construct this the same way that they did the old churches in the world. So here I worked with an artisan who did lots of renovation for churches in Europe, and also for the Surso Museum store, Surso Museum that you saw before, with the colorful glasses. And here, the screen. This is also a part of the collection, the 2 chairs in pistachio and pink, the naked and the full upholstery. Unfortunately, they are not here, but still you can see the shape. Another detail with the tassels and this brass details. So here also you can see the arches. It's a table, and we can flip it and use it both sides. We don't have the picture here, but still it's, as most of my pieces, flippable. You can see the arches that I talked about before in the architecture. So, and the colors, the light colors, which are a reflection of the city. Here we move to this wake-up call, the pieces related to the environment. So you can see the bulbs as if they are, you know, the eggs of the birds. They are lights highlighting on the environment, highlighting on the bird nest, and highlighting on the rocks. So it's like an added value to the rocks. So see this. If you see this, maybe you can think more of, you know, preserving it. Okay, we're gonna move fast to another commissioned pieces for an Italian brand, JCP Universe. Here it's more sexual because they wanted me to do like also a sexual, how we say, like toys, but they are more sensorial. So you can see the flogger, you can see also these tickling brush. So here, instead of like an explosion of war, it's an explosion of, you know, sensorial elements. It's in Milan. And this was my final project for the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Italy with La Triennale di Milano. So they commissioned me to do a piece related to the use of water, and they wanted a decanter at the same time to work with like traditional things, but still in a contemporary field. So here you can see this occult So it's like a robot, but still ironic, funny, and at the same time functional. The material is not terracotta, it's neo-terracotta, so the base, the inside is in stainless steel, but the outside is in terracotta, and the others are colored. So here you can see as well that we can flip the head of the piece to make it another object. So mainly this is what I do usually. And this is me, and thank you. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you for attending. Thanks a lot. Do anyone has a question or something? Do you want to know about anything? Okay.